So this is another kind of follow on like a video like from the series that's been done, let's say over the last, let's say couple of days. Um I suppose in this video I kind of wanted to maybe just discuss some of the kind of the approaches, let's say to kind of the Jiang form as seen through, let's say Wang Wei Yue's eyes and the way I experienced the form, and my own kind of, let's say martial experiences that have kind of influenced the way I kind of approach, let's say the Bagua set. Um I mean, overall, um and I kind of mentioned this, let's say in the podcast with Matt Parsons there last year. um Wong really kind of, let's say focused quite a bit on the kind of the throwing the joint lock and the kind of the destabilization methods within the Jiang form. um what he kind of really said to me is if you're doing, let's say any, let's say a form of, let's say a shaolin, let's say a martial art, if you're doing a sandbag, let's say training, or if you're doing a kind of various a different impact kind of a training a pounding palm, let's say, etc. If you're doing, let's say that on a regular, let's say basis, you're going to be able to hit, let's say very hard. But he said what the key element of Bagua is, um which kind of distinguishes it from some of the other, let's say martial arts, um obviously besides the circle walking etc., is there tends to be kind of a focus within the tactics to actually to end the encounter very quickly. And that tends to be, let's say about either maybe one, leading the opponent, two, let's say off balancing the opponent, or let's say breaking the kind of the opponent's, let's say physical structure, either by a subluxation, a joint, let's say kind of break, a bone break, a muscle tear or tendon break, or you set up kind of a shuai fa or difa as in throw, you're a quick either throw or a really kind of quick knockdown. And if you look at the kind of the layering level of some of the of the techniques as well, I mean, if you look at, let's say, flower hides under the leaf, you've got compound, let's say movements going on there within that particular a movement, whereby if you pull this off, let's say right, and the sequencing of it, you're going to either a sublocate the elbow joint, and you're going to get a very nice kind of setup, let's say for maybe an over the shoulder, let's say a throw, or hip toss throw, let's say if that's what your kind of your cup of tea is really. So um those were kind of some of the, that was the kind of the main focus of a Wang's kind of approach to it. I mean, my own, let's say background in kind of a Chang Chuan, let's say and some of the other kind of Chinese martial arts. I really do see the value, let's say in the Jiang form for all the kind of the layered Bagua Chin Na and kind of counter Chin Na, which you can kind of see in it. There's a huge emphasis what I saw, let's say within the first three palms on wrist joint locks, wrist breaks, elbow breaks, elbow sublocations, and kind of shoulder sublocations, or you're leading a person on to kind of a hip toss a throw, or an over the shoulder throw. So there's quite a heavy kind of emphasis there. The other thing which I kind of wanted to kind of discuss especially kind of around kind of you're doing partner practice, let's say with Bagua. um there is a certain types of chi sao or toi sao where you're kind of you're doing almost kind of the teacups with one hand, or maybe two hands like this, and you're kind, they're very similar to some of the push hands drills that you see within kind of yang tai chi or wu tai chi, or a number of others. There's a couple of others where you're just using this kind of rise fall, let's say drill, let's say a maneuver as well in single hand, and kind of leading as well going in the reverse. And I suppose those kind of push hands drills, they're really kind of maybe extrapolated both from the form, but also maybe from the kind of the teacup exercises as well. So you have a lot of kind of opening, closing, like reversing these type, and you also have like this kind of opening, coming back, scooping. You know, it's all like there. So there's only so many planes like that you can move like with the human hand on, like you know, at the end of the day. So there's quite a lot of overlap between a lot of like with the internal like styles like anyway, like as regards like kind of some push hands like maneuvers. But another kind of, let's say, like aspect like that was kind of like a focus, let's say, like by Wang, let's say, like while doing like some of these things, was the kind of the kind of the catching like aspects like of Chin Na, like where you're kind of learning to kind of catch like basically what you would call like a displacement, let's say, like, or off balancing like points on the body. So what do we kind of like mean like by that? So like some of the kind of the catches like where you're kind of talking like kind of with an upward force, using like maybe, let's say, like the fire, let's say, like, or the monkey like offers like the fruit, let's say, like or you're doing, let's say, like twisting, you know, type of maneuvers like from the wind, let's say, like palm, let's say, like shape, let's say, like same, let's say, like if you're doing, let's say, like the heaven like palm shape, like lifting kind of like energies, learning those various like different kind of grabs like on how they kind of like work for setting up the throws, and also like the breaks or the sub locations. So just as a kind of a starter off, like understanding like with the catches like on the kind of the human arm, getting the catch, let's say, like on the forearm, the main part of the forearm, the elbow, the tricep, etc. And then like later on, like you can kind of get underneath the armpit, like and if you're pushing someone up and coming in with a pounding palm, and just learning how to kind of lead like those techniques on. Same, let's say, like with kind of, let's say, like suppressing, like where you start pushing down, let's say, like and kind of like sucking kind of like, or kind of pulling like energy like inwards, where you're learning like to kind of to lay your hand, let's say, like go down, let's say, like on the forearm, on the outside, the inside, the bicep, and kind of going up, let's say, like go later on like to where the deltoid like go, and the kind of like the bicep like a tricep, let's say, like a meet, and like learning those kind of catches like as well, let's like go. Then you start, let's say, like kind of learning the displacements where you're using the force in opposing directions. So you could be kind of suppressing, let's say, like with this palm. You could be lifting up, let's say, like underneath, let's say, like with the tricep, let's say, like with the other like palm. So you can get all of these kind of like off balances, like whereby you can then release maybe one hand, slide in, and then come in with a pounding palm or a strike, let's say, like, or you can kind of like get another like kind of joint lock, or kind of a counter joint lock, let's say, like one, if they try to resist like with one hand. So it's almost, let's say, like it's like the path of, let's say, like a kind of, let's say, like a torrent, let's say, like, or a kind of like a flash, like a flood. The water will always like find a way around, let's say, like the opposing, let's say, like forces. So that's one of the kind of the things with Bagua, like as regards overcoming like the opponent. It will, if you don't, let's say, like get a particular joint lock on, maybe an elbow joint lock, let's say, like, or a wrist joint lock. If it's not going on, you learn to switch and you hit them with something else. So you either transition from a joint lock like to a strike, or a joint lock to a displacement, or a joint lock, let's say, like to a strike like that maybe off balances them like even further, and then maybe you destroy their structure by like dropping a kind of a heavy kick or a pounding kick, let's say, like onto the kneecap, like the ankle, etc. You know, or you set up a kind of another, let's say, like throw, like, or quick knockdown, like to kind of like take them down. But I mean, overall, it's a besides like the kind of the hand that's like fighting, and like learning like the opposing like forces, let's say, like and learning like where you can kind of, let's say, like lead in or pressure, let's say, like someone. It's also like worthwhile like kind of looking at, let's say, some of the kind of the catches like on the human body, especially like as regards like the kind of clothing, let's say, like, or like kind of using kind of like to as to offset, let's say, like someone like as well. um I mean, there's quite a lot of, let's say, like people out there like now, let's say, like teaching and sharing, let's say, like a traditional Chinese wrestling, like from various like different lines, like whether it's Baodin Shui Jiao, or whether it's Mongol Bok, like or there's a whole like a range, let's say, like of let's say like wrestling styles out there, like from various like different cities in China. You also have like a lot of let's say like people sharing like the specific grappling aspects like of their particular like styles, and the applications like of it. Um, I mean, even in long fist, there's some styles of long fist like where a lot of people think like they're just whirly like kind of hand movements like but like sometimes like these forms were actually created like for a long fist like fighter, let's say like Chang Chuan like to be able like to kind of have some offensive like and counter offensive, let's say grappling like maneuvers like and so that they can kind of level up their game, against people who might be more experienced like in the grappling and kind of like joint locking arts. So I mean, some of the other kind of like the catches like around like the kind of the collar, let's say like the kind of the underneath, let's say like of the armpit, let's say like here, let's say like other kind of catches like on the elbow, let's say like with the clothing. And then I mean, if you look at let's say some of the shapes like within the Jiang form, like just as an example, um the snake like creeps around like with the tree. I mean, that's a that's a setup like go for like go across like a buttocks throw or over, let's say like with the shoulder, let's say like go throw at a various at a kind of another angle. Duck lands on water like the swallow skims like the water. I mean, that's a kind of an ankle pick like or an under like thigh catch like to kind of set up, let's say maybe a fireman's carrier and over the shoulder, let's say like or over the back like a throw. um the rooster, the golden rooster like shakes its wings. That's also used, let's say like for kind of like a really quick snappy like kind of sweeps and throws and kind of like inner hook throws and inner reaping throws. So I mean, there's a lot of like things kind of like going on like with that. But I suppose maybe to kind of like go recap, let's say like go on this kind of like a video like go just around kind of exploring some of the kind of the tactics like and the usage let's say like the Jiang like form, like you really do kind of like look at, let's say like the kind of the transitions like that you see like between each, the kind of there's a lot of like there's a lot of nice little like things like in between the transitions as well. I mean, like just to kind of like kind of like give one like maybe technique. So that's the fair lady like looks like at the book. That particular move has so many kind of catches where you can either catch the inside, let's say like of the neck, the outside like of the neck, the back of the neck. You can also like use it to kind of as a kind of a pinch like to kind of to sublocate like the elbow joint and maybe get someone up on their tippy toes like for a sweep. There's lots of like kind of options like from that particular like that very simple like a move. And maybe kind of like a kind of cross comparison like as well, if people kind of want to start like kind of looking at this like and kind of investigating like the applications of it. um those kind of inside like kind of like a split like movements, you see a lot of, let's say like those kind of throws like within kind of like Indonesian like Salat. You also see it like in some of the southern like Chinese martial arts. But basically, like a putter kapala, let's like in a couple of those other kind of like head toss like throws like these type of things. There's a lot of, let's say like those throws like where you can use various like different like kind of forces like so whether it's catching like under the elbow, catching the tricep, catching the wrist, and then like taking like the person like through like to a head toss like throw. There's lots of like different like applications. So that's really kind of like I mean, that's some of the approaches like that I was shown and I was kind of like taught. And I mean, just to kind of like recap like because we are kind of coming up like to the 15 like a minute like time frame. I would say let's say like start looking at like the transition moves like between, let's say like the movements and the postures like in the Jiang form. You will find a significant amount of those like movements if you explore them. You'll see a lot of, let's say, like displacements, a lot of like maneuvers like where you're kind of catching or dragging a limb, let's say, like to kind of set someone up either for a throw or a joint lock or a sweep. You'll also find, let's say, like a lot of kind of like how would you describe it, like pass through joint locks. So it's like a joint lock like that happens along like the way. And if you play these like particular like maneuvers like in kind of either chi sao, let's like or kind of just exploring like the maneuvers like with your partner, like you'll definitely like find a lot of like benefit. So just to kind of sum up, like once again, think about like the catches using the various like different palms, whether it's on the wrist, the forearm, the bicep, the tricep, the under part like of the arm, or it's like the transition between like the bicep, tricep, like and the deltoid. Also, let's say like the kind of the usage of opposing, let's say like forces, so up and down, opening out and closing. So these type of, let's say like off balancing like maneuvers. And also, let's say like the grips, let's say like on clothing as like well. So whether like a collar grip, like under the armpit grip, around the back, the belt, there's lots of different like kind of like things like to be explored. So I hope you got like some interesting like food for thought, let's say like out of that, guys. If you got any kind of like questions, like, or if you want to start a conversation, like please feel free like to kind of like ask any questions like in the comment section. Okay, have a good evening.